Hey guys, back here again with another video. Maybe it's because I was playing Shadowrun, and Shadowrun and Battletech were both published by FASA back in the days that I was active in those games. But I've been drawn to Battletech lately, and actually, it's going to get a little bit personal, but my mom passed away back in December, and one of the things that happens when you're grieving, your brain does some pretty weird things. My dad already passed a couple years ago, and then my mom passed away. And what my brain did is it went back to a time when I was probably about a 10 or 11, and I lived in a rural area, and the power had gone out after a windstorm, and my dad had a generator, and he got that fired up. And maybe the electricity eventually came back online. I don't quite remember, but remember my friend Kellen was over, and my brother Dave was there, and we just put out a bunch of Battletech maps on the floor. Just made a giant map, had a three-way battle royale battle with Battletech miniatures. This would have been like Battletech 3rd edition, but things haven't changed much. If you guys play classic Battletech, it's practically the same game, only a couple rules have changed. And I just remember playing until like 1 in the morning or something. And to the point where we were all getting cranky and yelling at each other because we were just so tired. But that was sort of like a core memory or something, thinking back in my childhood. And I remember my dad, weird flippin' guy, got lots of mixed feelings about him, but I remember him walking in like midnight or 1 in the morning, and here's two of his kids and one of their friends just playing Battletech on the floor of the kitchen. And he was always like smoking a cigarette, you know, so he comes in, smokes a cigarette, just kind of chuckles to himself, wanders off again. And that's just kind of where my brain went after that. But I had a friend, a very good friend, he found out my mom had passed away. He said, "Hey, is there anything I could do?" And I was like, "Well, have you ever heard of Battletech?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "All right, well, I'm going to teach you." So I forced this poor hapless friend to play some classic Battletech with me. And we had some fun, but it was just kind of interesting that that's where my brain went. Found out about, gosh, what is it called? Mega Mech. A really cool app. If you're in the Battletech or interested in it, not super user-friendly, but a lot of fun. But another place my brain goes when I think of Battletech is Mechwarrior 2. And actually Mechwarrior 2 Mercenaries, which is an even bigger pain in the butt to actually get to work on modern computers. But I had Mechwarrior 2 first, and me and my friends got really into it. And we would just load up our mechs with the most bizarre, customized outfits, whatever, and then just kind of explore the limits of what the game could do. But to me, that was early days of PC gaming. My brother was more the guy who had Windows 3.1 and DOS. Well, my first system was Windows 95, but back in those days, you could still easily quit to DOS and play your games through there. So a lot of the really good games were in DOS because, well, my first rig had like 8 megs of RAM, I think, which is ridiculous when you think about nowadays. You need 8 gigs of RAM just to function. But 8 megs of RAM, I could barely run Windows, and it would kind of slow down to a crawl. Eventually I had to upgrade it to 16 megs of RAM, and then it worked a lot better. But anyway, quitting the DOS was the best way to run most games, because then you weren't trying to run Windows and DOS at the same time. Anyway, what am I going to do with this series? I don't know. I might play through one of the campaigns, go ahead and load up the game, and hopefully this captures properly.
This is HQ to any available units. We have mechs down at Nav Gamma. Bravo Cadet reports.
I remember as a kid, this cutscene was so cool. We would just sit here and watch it again and again, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense within the lore, or even just following logic.
Get down here.
Sit tight, Bravo 3. I've got visual.
I've got evacuators out. Targeting systems damaged. I'm in bad shape.
Enemy detected.
I need 2 of them. Be on the line.
Roger, I've got it.
So those are PPCs in this game. This game renders them as balls of plasma, basically. This part's confusing, because why are they using a machine gun? If it's not a machine gun, it's an autocannon.
Ammunition level critical.
But where did the PPCs go?
Weapon depleted.
Alpha Assault, this is HQ. What is your situation?
And it doesn't really make sense, because as far as I could tell, that was a fresh mech.
Alpha Assault, this is HQ. What is your situation? Please comply.
And the other thing it never made sense to me was we're talking about clan warriors. Clan warriors are very much about honor. They don't show cowardice like the other guy in this video. So the cutscene doesn't make any sense, and yet we thought it was so cool. It looked so good. All right, I'm gonna see if this works. Getting this game to run is kind of a pain. Getting it to get captured properly is also a pain, so hopefully this works. My loyalty, I feel a little bit more loyalty towards Clan Wolf for some reason. So the lore of Battletech, the clans were a group of basically Star League era soldiers who left the inner sphere following their general, I think it was Alexander Kerensky. Alexander Kerensky was disgusted by the politics and turmoil and infighting that the Star League had kind of devolved into. So he took a bunch of loyal soldiers and just took off and then disappeared for something like 300 years. What actually happened is after he passed, the soldiers he brought, the army, split themselves up into clans and came up with a really complicated society based on honor and caste system. So the warriors are at the top caste. There's also a scientist caste and a laborer caste. And then they have things like ritual combat when they want to resolve differences between different clans. And so the whole campaign of this is that Clan Jade Falcon wants to go back to Terra, Earth, and conquer whatever people are left there. Just conquer them and kind of force them to adopt the clan structure like they have. And I forget what that faction is called, like Crusader or something. I think the wolves are called Warden. I might be getting that wrong, but the wolves instead want to gently guide and protect what's left of humanity. Kind of leave them alone, but just kind of be there as advisors. The two clans basically get into a battle with each other, and then the way it works is that it's like ritual combat. So they'll, like, Clan Wolf will be like, I'm going to invade this planet, how many people will you defend it with? And Jade Falcon's like, we'll defend it with these. And then the Wolf, if they want to show more honor, will actually go, well, we'll actually use fewer soldiers than you. And they'll actually like bid themselves down. It's kind of an interesting society, but that's kind of the premise. And we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna play Wolf, I think.
We are Clan Wolf, children of Kerensky. We carry the honor of his name on our shoulders as our fathers did before. The remembrance speaks to us of the evil in man's will, of the reasons for exodus and the rights of the traveler. Arcadia is our destiny and our right. Enlightenment is our gift. By the blood names of the founders, we must return and protect that which is unique among the stars. Terra awaits us as it was written. We are the last of the Wardens, the sole hope for the Earth.
So I got it mostly correct.
Register Simcoe identity.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and delete this just in case I have any data left over, and I'm going to come up with, well, the exact same name because that's who I am. And then I think I just pressed enter. Yes. So I'll accept that. Alright, and then there's cadet training, which I'm going to skip because I don't need it. Archive holo projector, don't remember what this is.
Accessing.
Okay, so there's like a ton. Yeah,
Accessing.
so there's a ton of lore. And that's one of the things that I loved about this game, is I cared about the lore a lot. I don't think the game is actually considered canon, and yet the backdrop, like the things they do in the game aren't canon, but the backdrop, the things that are happening around me are canon. The war between Jade Falcon and Wolf. So yeah, as a kid I would go ahead and
Accessing.
just like read through these, and there's just tons of stuff. Alright, but we're gonna go to the ready room and the mech lab,
Mad Dog.
and you are limited by your tonnage, so I'm only allowed 60 tons, and the Mad Dog is basically the best mech for that size, unless you want a faster mech, but I've got little tricks to help me move fast, so I don't need to worry about it. And then the stock Mad Dog is actually pretty cool. It's got 2 LRM-20s, 2 medium pulse lasers, 2 large pulse lasers. I'm actually kind of curious. So this is the one I made up. I actually downgraded the LRMs but increased the ammo. And that has to do with the fact that LRM-15s are more efficient tonnage-wise. I think I am going to play around a little bit with the lasers. This is a configuration I would have used with a more inner sphere mech, but I kind of wonder if instead we want to go ahead and do pulse lasers in this game. I think we'll try it out. So see, heat 5, damage 7. Heat 4, damage 7. The range difference isn't even that much. So I'm going to try this out. Yeah, but I only get 2 of them. Yeah, we'll see. I might be able to fire them like a machine gun. This mech would not be good in the tabletop game. And I see it wants me to name a new one. So I'm going to call it Bicrom 2. Yeah, we're going to try this out, see how that works. And I have to assign critical, so you have to actually choose where all your stuff goes. Yeah, that's gonna drive you pretty crazy too. I need my stuff to be symmetrical, so so we can put heat sinks here and heat sinks there. I hate putting heat sinks in arms, it feels weird to me, but that's fine. And then I also, the tabletop game, you actually have a benefit to putting weapons in your arms because it affects where the shots are coming from in your firing arc. This is going to be more of a cosmetic thing, because I think it would just be goofy to walk around with the Mad Dog has gun arms and yet to have no weapon on it would look really dumb. So I have my missiles in the torsos, got medium lasers on the side, they're pulse lasers so they shoot like machine guns in this game. We'll see how this goes. think this first video might be a bit longer than if I keep playing this game, because I just went through the background and all that stuff. Okay. In a matter of hours, the 352nd Assault Cluster will engage the enemy's 12th Falcon Regulators at the mouth of the Maraca Valley near Requiem Colmar. In preparation for the combat, our aerospace affairs have performed an interdiction strike against the Falcon Firebase and chemical plant south of the valley. The weather during the strike has turned foul, and the mission was scrubbed before the chemical plant could be hit. Orbital inspection of the firebase has become impossible. The Tuma needs positive reconnaissance information so that the fighters can turn their attention to destroying the 12th. So, codename Pyrelite, Planet Colmar, terrain Rolling Hills, time day. First, destroy the chemical plant at Nav Epsilon, leave nothing standing. Then you must inspect the firebase at Nav Zeta and wipe out any and all opposition you encounter. So you will get primary objectives. You must do those to move on to the next mission. Secondary, I don't think you have to do those, but they give you more honor points, which just score basically. And then tertiary, destroy any targets of opportunity. And then the situation, this is where the lore comes in again. Situations and aftermaths are downloaded from BareNet New Albion Porthos. They are the recorded log of the lore master of Clan Ghost Bear and represent an impartial account of the refusal war as seen by the Grand Council. They are provided to you, a member of the Wearcast, so you may be informed of events as they occur in the larger context of the battles. So as far as I know, this stuff is canon, but I might be wrong about that. Elias Critchell, Khan of Clan Jade Falcon, faced angrily as meeting with the Wolf Clan on Tamar had not gone as he had expected. First, he had been forced to pass through a gauntlet of hostile Wolf Clan warriors, and the Wolf Khan, Natasha Kerensky, further humiliated and enraged Critchell by forcing him to perform the betrothal with the traitor Ulrich Kerensky. According to tradition, Khans of the clans negotiated terms of battle only with their peers, never with warriors of lesser rank. This practice was observed most stringently when bidding for an important battle, and few battles held as much import for clansmen as the trial of refusal. So that's the name of the conflict between the Jade Falcon and Wolf Clan. And he, Khan Elias Critchell of Clan Jade Falcon, had found himself negotiating with a mere Star Colonel. But Critchell's greatest shock came when he learned the Wolves' choice of battlefield for the trial. Ulrich declared the Wolves would engage the Jade Falcons on Colmar as expected, and at Domper, Sudeten, Zotimir, and other worlds of the Falcon occupation zone. And the Wolves had bid all their troops to do so. The occupation zone would be planets that Jade Falcon had already taken from the inner sphere. Ulrich and his band of misfits seek to anger you so that we will make a mistake and provide the Wolves an opportunity to claim a victory in the trial. Sakan van der Van Chistu told Critchell. The traitor's plan will backfire. I'll make sure of that. We will turn this trial of refusal into a trial of absorption. That's when another clan completely absorbs another clan. Destroying the clan, but then taking all their assets and all their warriors. After we have smashed the galaxies of the Wolves, we will claim all their properties, and the Jade Falcons will become the greatest and most powerful clan ever. I will leave it to you then, Sakan Chistu, to develop our battle strategies, Critchell said. And once we have defeated the treacherous Wolves and I am elected Ilkhan, we will march towards Terra. Alright, let's go ahead and launch the game.
Planet Colmar.
And I am using...
34.65 degrees.
I will be using a gamepad.
Time is 01:34:16 GST. All systems nominal.
I used some remapping software though because I hated using a joystick in the original game. It didn't work well, so I did some remapping and it made something that works pretty well for me. Normally I would have just used keyboard controls and I would have been happy about it. But I noticed my controls are not working because I forgot to load them up, so I'll be right back. Okay. This should work. The soundtrack is so amazing. I will actually... I'm a writer in my free time, and I will actually listen to the soundtrack while I'm writing. It helps me stay focused. Alright, so... controls. This is me actually turning my mech left and right, and then I'm dipping up and down. The problem with the joystick controls normally is it'll like temporarily dip down and then it'll bounce right back up. You can also torso twist. if you look at the radar, you can see my line of sight is 180 degrees to the right of the facing of my actual mech. Let's see.
External camera.
So you can see, you can turn your torso like this. And then there is a hotkey to straighten yourself out again in case your torso is all twisted up. I also put jump jets on this Mad Dog, which is not normal. I don't know, I'm going to do a lot of explaining of exactly what I'm doing until it comes up. But here we go. One of the things I liked about this game, even though the controls are kind of wonky, it made you feel like you were in a giant lumbering mech. Especially like the keyboard, you're like pressing things in your keyboard and pressing all kinds of things. I had an image of like a guy in a cockpit just like pressing all these different buttons and pulling all these different levers. So it's definitely not like a dual stick FPS like we would play these days. So I have group fire enabled where I will fire... Actually no, I don't have group fire, but well, hold on. I didn't realize this Jenner was closer. I will only fire my missiles right now. Oh. I kind of destroyed it in the first volley. And then he's actually pretty close. Oops. I like to soft an enemy with a couple volleys, and then my lasers are to kind of finish them off. Oops. Thought I was still locked on. And I like LRMs because they lock on. Streak SRMs do the same thing. And let's see. Let's go ahead. Oh. That was easy. It occurs to me I should probably switch over to hard mode. Alright. Yeah, I think this is going to work just fine. Oops. Gotta watch my heat though. So that was the thing in Battletech. You fire too many weapons, your mech would overheat, your ammo might explode, your mech might shut down.
Primary objective: destroy chemical plant. Successful. Enemy power-up detected.
Alright, so next I have to inspect the fire base wreckage. And there's my next enemy. And I will go ahead and try to soften them up from long range again. So the Firemouth, I think, is a 20-ton mech, so it's the lightest mech in this game. Don't know if this will hit, but I'll try. Nope, there's a hill in between. Alright, and then the main reason to do this torso twisting thing is the enemy has a harder time hitting you when you're moving laterally away from them. Okay, you can kind of use your missiles like artillery and launch them over a hill like that. Doesn't always work. You can see I knocked off one of his arms. Alright, and then there's a Nova. Nova is actually one of my favorite mechs in the actual tabletop game. Those primary configurations just has a ton of medium lasers, which is one of my favorite weapons in the game. I'm gonna come in at an angle here. There we go. Oops. Wait till I'm over the hill. Let's see if that will hit. That did not hit. There must be a hill in between. And again, you can kind of use them like artillery if you tilt your mech upwards. I think I should slow down a little bit. In fact, I might even stop until I can see him. These graphics back at the time were so good. Alright, I'm going to start moving again, because when he gets to short range, he's going to be able to actually hit me. Oof. See that he's jumping. Remember, I gotta watch my heat, so I can't just fire indiscriminately. Alright, and then I'm gonna turn and actually go the other way here. It's hard for you to tell, but I'm just jumped away from him. You can see my altitude off to the left there. Want to make sure you don't hit the ground too hard. Okay, and then... Alright, I got his number.
Enemy mech destroyed. Secondary objective successful.
Alright, and then if you want to get to targets faster, you jump up in the air and then use your forward jump jets to get some velocity. And it's kind of crazy how fast you can actually go.
Zeta reached.
Alright, and then I'm supposed to inspect this.
Primary objective. Inspect firebase wreckage. Successful. Proceed to dust-off zone for extraction.
And that is over here. Nav Ada. Full speed. Trying to remember. What did I do? Is this...
Autopilot engaged.
Yep.
Autopilot disabled. Autopilot engaged.
Alright, so you can go autopilot if you want. Helps with some of the missions where it's a long time to get to where you're trying to go. You can also
Autopilot
disengage it and just jump and get there way faster if you jump.
Nav Eta reached. Mission successful.
Alright, press any key to exit. Mission successful. Your inspection has verified what was expected to be the case. The firebase has been totally razed. Your strike has left the chemical plant in ruins. So successful. It gives me the time, so the mission took me 10 minutes. Here's my points. Unable to resupply, the 12th Falcon regulars were decimated by the 352nd in the Morocco Valley. Good work, Mechwarrior. The Kashyyyk ever vigilant rewards the honorable. And then again, this is the lore that goes with that. Aftermath, the bitter rivalry between the Wolves and Jade Falcons fueled fierce fighting in the Battle of Colmar, a battle that set the tone for the entire Refusal War. The first shots were fired in the Morocco Valley, using the dry river bed for cover. 352nd Wolf Assault Cluster had marched through the valley to the Jade Falcon position at Bright Basin. The steeples of the valley forced the Falcon aerospace fighters to make their strafing runs directly into the front of the Wolf mech column. As a result, the fighters had little effect and soon broke off their attacks rather than face fire from the Wolf mechs. The fleeing fighters left the battle mechs of the 12th Falcon Regulars cluster with no fighter cover when they appeared on the ridgeline to the south. As the Falcons descended the steep slope to enter the weapons firing range, they bunched up, presenting easy targets to 352nd. When the dust cleared, the 12th Falcon Regulars were no more. A scant 10% of the 12's personnel survived, among them only 6 aerospace fighters. By comparison, the 352nd suffered only 17% casualties. Unfortunately, the Falcons managed to destroy half of the 352nd's aerospace fighters. And elementals, those are little battle armor guys, and 2/3 of the cluster's mechs. The Wolves took no bondsmen from the survivors, but did lay claim to all battlefield salvage. The fighting had been fierce, and many of the 352nd's mechs would never see battle again, but at long last the Wolf pups had cut their teeth. After the battle, the remaining members of the 352nd formed up with the wolf spiders and marched on Doran, the capital of Kolmar. There, Khan Natasha Krinsky's elementals opened the planet's armories and armed the population. She declared the Kolmar system free of the Jade Falcons and told the gathering crowds that she would take their grievances to the Jade Falcon Khan personally. All right. And then pretty well automatically saves the game for you.
Register Simcoe
You can always launch old missions, but it always puts you on the newest mission. So that's kind of how that works. Anyway, I'll be playing through probably a series of shorter videos to get through, and I won't be talking as much in the following ones. But this is a great game from the early days of PC gaming.